Hey guys, well, I realized that I hadn't done any progress videos of this engine I'm building. Some people may think it's kind of interesting. There's other guys trying to do it, but I figured I'd show some pictures before I went ahead and painted it. This is a Ford 300 that I'm putting a LS style head on. I built a head for it. It's used two 241 Camaro heads. Just got it back from the machine shop. It's ready to go together, but basically get it out of here. This is the head that I've put together. You can see that I did it differently. A lot of guys use 3 sections. I used a full section, or full 4 cylinders. And then I just cut the end cap off and put 2 more cylinders on the end. I did drill it for steam holes, just like the Ford 300 would have asked for, and I welded shut kind of in these areas for all the existing holes before. But this has LS3 valve springs, just stock heads. Nothing crazy, but should flow better than a factory Ford 300. So well, we're in final mock-up assembly of the Ford 300 with custom cylinder head. I thought I would spend a little time and talk about everything I've done. Turbochargers, a GT45, wastegate's a VS Racing 44, I believe, or 38 maybe. Exhaust manifold was 2 truck manifolds that I just grafted together, incorporated the wastegate flange, and put a T4 flange on the bottom for the turbocharger. Water outlet for the thermostat housing is off of a 235 Chevy straight 6. I just knocked the freeze plug out and cut it out a little bit. It will need to use 2 gaskets, but works pretty good. It's a solution, you know, otherwise I'd struggle with figuring out what I'm gonna do there. Valve covers, pretty easy, graft together, weld it. Same thing with the coil brackets. Beans, I am trying to run a fuel injected setup. You can see I got holes cut in the intake that I've been making. It's nothing extravagant, but to fire the coils, I'm gonna use a GM P01 ECM and a Blazer cam sync. I cut right here on the distributor, and I welded the outer housing to the lower of the Ford 300. You can actually see it's welded there. Inside, it's actually just got a cam sync, and that's it. So that's locked down on top dead center. Up front, to control the crank position sensor, I was gonna make a mount somewhere for a crank sensor, and then I have a 24 tooth crank reluctor that I've turned, and I will be welding to the inside of the balancer. This is gonna be mock-up. I'm not really worried about ruining a balancer over the process. I just wanna figure out if I can make this work. The side cover, basically it's just 1/2 inch aluminum, and it's not actually a true 90 degrees, so I basically drilled and tapped this and bolted it to the head, and then I drilled this and bolted it to the block, and I mounted everything and I tacked it together, and it's going to be sealed with partial gaskets and some RTV. The intake is still a work in process. This is a truck throttle body off of a GM, 5.3, something like that. But basically I'm trying to run one single fuel rail. It's a 2-foot fuel rail, just fuel rail stock. I just drilled it and all weld fittings in it. But basically I gotta weld bungs into the intake. The intake is actually two Ford 300 plenums from a fuel injected 300. It's more work than what it was worth, but I think it'll look cool when it's all done. It's just gonna take a lot of grinding, a lot of cleanup time, but at least it's a cast piece then. Other than that, we're getting close. Gonna have to start wiring everything here pretty soon, and I'm excited to hear this thing run. If you got any questions, put them in the comments below. Thanks.